American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life. When the words all come down like blues on Tuesdays come down. Throw it all away.
All right, American Timelines is back. We're in June of 1944. And again, my name is Joe. I'm the sexy host with rock hard abs, and I'm joined by Hunter Bizzle, Artstar, and Gruff from the Gruff and Loud Show. The greatest YouTube series of all time.
It is up there. It is up there.
Right along with Deborah Jo Ruppiverse, which is the single-handedly greatest Deborah Jo Rupp dedicated program there is. But anyway, we're back.
Program or program?
The program. And we left off, as you may remember, 1944 at D-Day. And we're going to continue on and we're going to switch up the format a little bit rather than us just reading off long paragraphs off of Wikipedia, mostly words we can't pronounce. We're going to we've each come today prepared with one item that happened in June 1944. Doesn't have to be World War II related. It could be, doesn't have to be. Could be a bombing, it could be a birth, could be a death, could be anything. It could be anything. We're trying this, and we each took our time and just researched the topic, and we're going to share it with the bros today. And tell each other what happened. And we're still going to go chronologically through June. So I'm going to start with June 10th, 1944. You guys ready? Thanks for being here, fellas.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having us.
You guys ready to just jump right the fuck in?
Yep.
And feel free to interject any questions, concerns, problems. If you just need a moment to get your emotions.
First off, let me just say this.
Yes, Artstar.
So I'm looking at my like how I'm gonna start or whatever, and you went through this whole spiel about us having things that we can't pronounce.
Yeah.
And I have like this whole sentence that I'm not even going to butcher. It's just going to be it's going to be Swiss cheese the fuck out of.
Okay.
Oh, dude.
So we should
don't worry.
warn
I have
listeners.
surrealist poetry.
Okay.
So we're good.
Okay. So we'll keep it consistent with things we can pronounce.
no worries, man. No worries.
Yeah.
So Steve's going to I think Steve's organically going to tie into mine, but continue on, Joe.
This is exciting. We have no idea what it is. And I will probably have some things I can't pronounce too. But I'm going to start with June 10th, 1944. And I'm going to tell you the story of old Nuxie. The old left-hander, Hamilton Joe. Anybody know who I'm talking about? Old Nuxie?
Not a clue.
Right.
The only Nuxie I can think of was Nucky, Steve Buscemi's character from.
Oh no, I have a great story here. This is hopefully uplifting. It's a little sad at the end, but on June 10th, 1944, the Cincinnati Reds were playing the first place and eventual World Series champions, St. Louis Cardinals, at Crosley Field. 15-year-old high school phenom pitcher Joe Nuxhall was sitting on the bench in uniform, a 15-year-old, with permission from his high school principal. The Reds were trailing 13-0 in the ninth inning when manager Bill McKechnie told Joe to warm up and called on the 15-year-old Joe Nuxhall for mop-up relief in a Major League Baseball game. Joe Nuxhall said, I was pitching against 7th, 8th, and 9th graders, kids 13 and 14 years old. All of a sudden, I look up and there's Stan Musial and the likes. It was a very scary situation. Before we jump into it, we got to go back. Joe Nuxhall was born and raised in Hamilton, Ohio. That's why they call him Hamilton Joe. During World War II, many regular baseball players were unavailable while serving in the military. Meanwhile, Nuxhall was the biggest member of the 9th grade class in Hamilton, Ohio. At 6 feet 2 inches, 190 pounds, he was a left-hander with a hard fastball, but not much control. Nuxie was playing in a semi-pro league with his father for a few years. They both played together. In the summer of 1943, the Cincinnati Reds, like every other team, were searching the sandlots for draft-proof bodies and baseball uniforms. See, the draft was taking all the athletes, so they had to go either under 18 or over 40 to find anybody. They had heard about a 34-year-old, or I guess at this time it was over 30 or 32 or something. They had heard about a 34-year-old amateur pitcher named Orville Nuxhall in nearby Hamilton, Ohio. Two scouts went out one Sunday to look him over, and the field they went to had several diamonds on it. While looking for Orville, they noticed a left-handed kid pitcher in another game. Inquiring as to the southpaw's identity, they were told, that's Orville's son, Joe. He's only 14. Impressed, the scouts offered both father and son minor league contracts with Ogden, Utah in the Class C Pioneer League. The Nuxhalls were not interested. Orville preferred to stay home with his 5 children, and Joe didn't want to lose his eligibility to play in his 9th grade basketball at Wilson Junior High. By 1944, the draft age had widened to 18 to 38, so the Reds offered Joe a $500 bonus to sign a major league contract for $175 a month. So they had to go under 18 at this point. He showed up. So when they offered him this contract, he would show up on weekends and just sat on the bench. He didn't really do anything else but collect his check. The Reds were in 3rd place at this time, thanks to decent pitching, led by Bucky Walters. Bucky Walters' record was 23-8, and Ed Huser's league-leading 2.38 ERA. Joe didn't expect to get into a single game, and he was just fine with that. But on June 10th, 4 days after D-Day, the first-place St. Louis Cardinals were bombarding the Reds 13-0 after 8 innings at Crosley Field in Cincinnati. Very few of the 3,510 fans remained in their seats when manager Bill McKechnie decided to send in the schoolboy to mop up. Joe was 15 years, 10 months, and 11 days old when he faced his first big league hitter, second baseman George Fallon, and he got him out on a ground ball to short. He threw 2 quick strikes to the next batter, the pitcher Mort Cooper, then walked him. The next batter popped up, 2 outs. He was doing great, but then Joe walked the next batter. I was throwing the ball all over everywhere, he said. About then I realized where I was. Probably 3 weeks prior to that, I was pitching to junior high kids, and now I look up, there's Stan Musial standing at the plate. Musial lined a single, and after that, the thrill of it all rapidly dissolved. Joe walked 3 more and gave up a 2-run single before the merciful McKechnie paroled him. His line, 2 for 3, 2/3 inning pitch, 5 runs, 2 hits, 5 walks.
What was the ERA?
I don't.
90 point
Yeah,
something?
I don't know if you can get a.
Not good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if they even used that then, but
I think they did.
doesn't have to have a minimum amount of innings pitched. I think
Nah.
more than 2/3. Anyway, following his appearance with the Reds, he was assigned to the Birmingham Barons in the Southern League, but he pitched only 1/3 of an inning there. He struck out his first batter, then he allowed a hit, 5 walks, a hit batter, and 5 runs. But Nuxie then attended spring training with the Reds in 1945. After school ended that spring, he pitched in the Reds minor league system for 1 season, but then he decided to go back home until he finished high school the following year. He regained his amateur status and played football, basketball, baseball for Hamilton High School as a senior in 45 to 46, earning all-state honors in football and basketball. Over the next 5 years, he played in the minor leagues with the Syracuse Chiefs, Lima Reds, Muncie Reds, Columbia Reds, Charleston Senators, and the Tulsa Oilers. I now want a hat of every single one of those. Before returning to the Reds in 1952, this time with the Reds, it lasted 15 years, and he won 135 games and lost 117. And then, in 1967, Nuxie began a 31-year career on the Reds radio broadcasting team when he retired. Nuxhall,
Nice.
he announced his retirement as an active player on April 1st, 1967, and under the guidance of Hamilton sports broadcaster Ray Motley, he immediately joined the Reds broadcast team despite his lack of broadcasting experience. Part of his trademark radio sign-off phrase, "This is the old left-hander rounding third and heading for home," is displayed outside of the Reds Stadium, Great American Ballpark, along with a statue of him. And that opened in 2003. The other statues are Ernie Lombardi, Frank Robinson, Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, Tony Perez.
And now the next time you're in Cincinnati, you have to take a picture with.
You know what? I think I saw this. I didn't know about this whole story, but I think I looked up a picture of this, and I think I walked right past it because I was like, who the fuck's that guy? When I walked into this game this summer, because I went to a game this summer. But now I know who Joe Nuxhall is. He was elected to the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame in 1968, officially retired from the Reds broadcast booth on October 3rd, 2004, 60 years after his pitching debut at the age of 15, though he still made guest appearances on some broadcasts. And even when he was a broadcaster, he would sometimes pitch during batting practice for the Reds as an old man. In addition to being called Nuxie and the old left-hander, Nuxhall was known as Hamilton Joe, particularly to locals. He spent nearly 62 of 64 baseball seasons in the Reds organization as a minor league player, major league player, and announcer from 44 to 2007, when he passed away due to cancer. On June 6, 2007, the Reds honored Nuxie, Marty Brennaman, and Waite Hoyt with replica microphones that hang on the wall near the radio booth. And then he died of cancer on November 15th, 2007. And that's about it. Nuxhall, to this day, remains the youngest individual to play in a major league game in history. During his lifetime, it was believed that a 14-year-old named Fred Chapman pitched 5 innings in an 1887 game. But in 2009, the Society for American Baseball Research discovered that Chapman's first name and age were both incorrect. His name was actually Frank Chapman, and he was 25 at the time of his only major league appearance.
That's a fucking difference.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing different is the first name and the age. Well, that could be a different fucking person. Man.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's what they say. But there's also been sources listing somebody named Billy Greer, who supposedly played for the 1874. Get this team. This is a hat I want. The 1874 New York Mutuals of the National Association. There's a team called the New York Mutuals. Anyway, they said he was born in 1859.
Mutuals?
Yeah, that was the name of the New York baseball team in 1874. But this is questionable as well as to whether the National Association was a major league or not. So maybe it wasn't Major League Baseball, so that doesn't count. And then one other one, Joe Relaford, a 12-year-old bat boy for the Class D Fitzgerald Pioneers, became the youngest person ever playing a professional baseball game in 1952 when he was called on pinch hit. But that's not major leagues, I guess, so that's why. Anyway, so poor old Nuxie, the old left-hander, rounded third and headed for home.
That's crazy. You got to imagine like your first ever, like, you're in high school, and then they're like, hey, do you want to come play professional baseball? Don't worry, you'll just ride the bench.
Yeah.
Collect your paycheck.
No fooling.
We just need
fooling.
And imagine him shitting his pants when they put him in.
And then but probably there's probably first when they put him in, he's like, oh, this is my chance. Like I'm gonna pitch in a major league baseball game, and he got the first guy out. And a ground out. So allowed to hit,
the shortstop.
But yeah, they
got him.
But then
that's still not a hit. That's still a no hitter.
So check this out.
But then it's not like after a certain number of pitches, like you're done. It's you have to end the inning. You have to somehow
not necessarily. He didn't. He only made 2/3 of the inning.
Exactly. They they pulled him out, but could you imagine being stuck on that mound and being like, nope, you got to pitch to another one. Nope, you got to pitch to another one.
I think it's funny that almost everybody had gone home at that point because they were getting shellacked. And what if he told all his friends, "Hey, I got into the game"? Like, yeah, right. 15-year-old playing a Reds game.
Whatever, Nuxie.
Yeah, whatever, old Nuxie.
Shut
You're
up,
probably
bench boy.
fooling, Nuxie. You're fooling. But so
you're fooling, Nuxie.
Here's the thing. So even now you have it where in baseball they have this thing now where if you're losing by 10 runs, you can bring in a position player. So imagine
a 15-year-old.
No, not a 15-year-old. But imagine if you're a professional baseball player and you have your brain keyed on reading pitchers, right? And the pitchers you're used to reading are throwing to you 90 plus. They're mixing up their pitches, and you have someone who comes in and like you said he threw like did you say he threw 90 something miles per hour?
Did I say that?
But he had no control, right? Did you say he threw like 90 something and he had no control?
He said it was
Something like
getting
that.
wild. Like his pitches were getting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like that was
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
Right,
know
so-
that they didn't have a way
Well,
to
but
know
like
the speed.
even
Like
even if,
radar.
yeah, even if he wasn't pitching like that, so the reason I said the position players, these
Yeah.
position players, they come in. Some of them may be in college, maybe in high school. They were also pitchers, but then having not used their arms for pitching, maybe they can only gun it at like 70 miles an hour. So you're a batter up there. You
Yeah.
have your swings
Oh, yeah.
calm down to hit 90 miles per hour ball, and now here comes what they call an ethos pitch. So it's basically like you're
A what?
swinging
Say it
this
again?
big piece of lumber.
A what pitch?
Ethos.
ETH
Ethos pitch.
OS?
No, ethos. Ethos.
Ethos? Spell it. I don't know.
Right.
Huh?
I guess it would be called EEPHUS, I guess.
Ethos? I've
Yeah,
never heard of that
ethos.
term. Okay.
But listen,
Because it's-
so you're
because it's
basically
slower?
swinging. Right. So
Yeah.
you're basically swinging this big piece of lumber at a wiffle ball, right? So you're swinging hard, but like
Yeah.
here comes this
Yeah.
pitch that's slower than you're
Well, like
used to.
that's why the knuckleball is so
Yeah.
nasty, right?
So
It's
hard
like
to
it's
hit, right?
such a slow speed that people don't know how to hit it.
Or sinkers, because sinkers
Yeah.
come at you like it's a fastball, and the bottom just
And then
drop
they-
out of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
you're like,
Gaylord
whoa,
Perry
so-
covering it all in Vaseline. Wait a minute. So they still to this day you can bring in like a shortstop to pitch if
Yeah,
they-
but you
if
have
you're
to
down
be-
by 10.
You have to be down by like 10.
Really? I didn't know that was a rule. See, Art is
Yeah,
a baseball.
they just
Yeah.
like over the last couple of years.
Okay,
like,
so-
a lot of people don't like it
yeah.
because one, it saves your bullpen, but then
Yeah.
also it messes with the batter's timer.
Yeah, because they
Timing.
don't have to they're not getting pitch counted. So
Right.
But okay, so let's say you bring in that position hit or position
Position
pitcher, and then you get within 10 runs. Do they have to leave or they can?
That's a good
continue?
question.
Well, usually when they come in, they only coming in for the half an inning. They
Okay.
don't. They might not come back out the next inning.
Yeah. Okay.
It's almost
Curious.
like little league rules. Like we're switching,
Yeah,
bringing
the
a little
mercy
kid in
rule.
from bringing the kid in from outfield, let him take over to the next
That's
inning.
why I
Bring it
hate
over.
watching the little league World Series, and I think it's I want to say it's 16. Like if they get 16, then the game's over. But I want to see those kids run the score up and just just get nasty on them.
That's just a sports bully.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's that? This year the big deal was kids trying to read pitches out of the pitcher's glove from second, and they kept getting the refs kept
Jack Chisholm.
because there's no rule against it, but there's rules against unsportsmanlike behavior.
It's like an unspoken
And they-
baseball thing.
Yeah, they considered it but in MLB they've been doing that for the past 2 years, a lot. The player on second,
But if you know who does it a lot, the
Yankees.
fucking Yankees.
the
Fuck the
Yankees.
Yankees.
I love watching it because I love how pissed off the coaches get. That's it basically the moment you see what's the tall lanky black guy on the Yankees.
Jack Chisholm.
Yes. Oh my God. You see him get on second.
He just cocky with
and
it.
he
he
doesn't
he-
lead off.
Right.
Yeah.
He just
some of
sits
them,
there and
they'll
look for
kinda- they'll do this, just a little hand wave, but he'll be out there
right.
don't hit.
He got flags and shit, man in the plane.
He's got the hat of bananas on. He's doing the cha-cha down the base.
I do have to mention when I did the little side about a minor league team hat that I want to wear, the New York Mutuals reminded me of my origin story for Hunter. The first time I ever spoke to Hunter was I noticed him wearing a minor league baseball hat.
Do you remember who it was?
And it was, I want to say it's the Biscuits.
It is the Montgomery Biscuits, but it was one of their.
It was a special hat of theirs, right?
It was one of their theme nights. Is they have apparently in Montgomery, Alabama, they have a large Korean population, and so for one night, I think one night every series they have Korean night, and they become the Montgomery Kimchi.
So I see Hunter and I see this hat
cool.
that I've never seen, and I'm obsessed with wearing like hats that nobody has any idea what the fuck it is. But it's a baseball logo. I want to own all these minor league teams, but I have a problem. Like I don't think it's okay to wear it if you haven't gone. Like I need to go to these games. Just like the chant. There's the Lansing Lugnuts. Yeah. Lansing Lugnuts is a great team name, but I'm not going to buy a hat.
That's a good one.
Lansing Lugnut game.
Milwaukee Milkmen.
I'm going to go to these games.
Do you know
but
about
then I saw Hunter. I was like, "Oh, you went to the game?" And he was like, "No, I just like the hat." And I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
I don't." I was very upset. I was uncomfortable.
Well,
I didn't know if I ever want to.
Do you know about the? Do you know about the Marvel Defenders of the Diamond series?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think Art, or maybe one of you guys was telling me.
No,
not
yeah. So like,
Marvel
teamed up with the minor league baseball to like get all these minor league teams to make a Marvel style logo for each of their teams. And some of them are really, really cool looking. So they're all like very like superhero looking. Except for the Charlotte Knights is probably the worst fucking logo I've ever seen. It looks like, if you looked at it, like most of them, you look at it and you're like, oh, that's like a superhero logo. But you look at the Charlotte Knights one and you're like, is that their normal logo? Like it's just bad. I hate it.
Oh well. Anyway, so now I'm kind of thinking about getting a hat of something I haven't been to, but I'm.
Well, that's just. There's nothing wrong with wearing a hat of something.
Think of it as a think piece. Like it was a think piece between you and Hunter.
That's true, and he wouldn't be right here on American Timelines if I hadn't noticed his hat.
No ill will, just for a different.
I would have walked the other way when I saw him.
My favorite one that I have not purchased yet, but I've been looking at is the Delmarva Shorebirds.
Delmarva, shout out Delmarva Shorebirds.
Yes,
they have.
Art, does that mean something to you?
Baltimore home.
It's Baltimore. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But they have the Delmarva Scrapple sandwiches.
Oh yeah,
it's like a Scrapple sandwich on the hat.
What the hell's a Scrapple sandwich?
You don't know what Scrapple is?
I don't.
What? No.
Do you know what liver mush is?
I know what liver mush is.
Similar, very similar. It's a forced meat.
Do they taste the same?
Nah.
I know what Geta is.
No. I like Scrapple a lot better than liver mush.
So Geta is probably the same thing. Yeah. Geta is like sausage mixed with oatmeal.
So that's basically that's basically what liver mush is. It's like your offal meats
special.
Well, no, it's just a variation on a fucking theme, dude.
Yes, everybody's got a local liver mush, I guess. Okay, well, that's before we delve into styles of.
Well, I mean, Scrapple isn't
awful meats.
Like local
mixed meats. Recipes. Before we go deep into mixed meats, let's pause and jump to June 11th, where Artstar is going to take over and teach us something.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
So, I'm dealing with death. Yeah. So, on June 11th, 1944, which was a Sunday, Vojtěch Preissig, age 70, a Czech topographer, illustrator, and designer, died in, I want to say it's Dachau concentration camp. And so this part here I took directly from the PDF wiki. Wojciech Preissig was oh crap. I tapped the screen and it blew up. But I don't think he was born on July 31st, 1872 in Zvetek, North Bohemia. His father was a mining engineer. In 1884, he moved to Prague, where he studied at the School of Applied Industrial Art from 1892 to 1896. then at the School of Decorative Architecture from 1897 to 1898. In 1897, he moved to Paris and worked for 2 years with the Czech Art Nouveau artist Alphonse Mucha. I want to say that should have been 1898 or 1899.
I was going to say.
Yeah. His early successionist work was influenced by Japanese art and symbolism. He returned to Prague in 1903, where he funded the periodical Česká grafika, or Czech Graphics, published a book. Now, this is the one where I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but it's called Color Etchings and Engravings in 1909, and opened his own graphic studio in 1905. Unfortunately, the graphic studio was not a financial success, so he moved to the United States in 1910 and worked as an art instructor. Preissig remained in the United States until 1930. He taught at Columbia University and the Art Students League of New York starting in 1912. Then moved to Boston by 1916 and taught a course in graphic arts for the Wentworth Institute. He became the director of the School of Printing and Graphics until 1926. During his time with the Wentworth Institute, he designed recruitment posters for United States Armed Forces of World War I, which was principally aimed at Czech immigrants. Most of Preissig's work was, especially when he was in the States, was all about recruiting immigrants to join the United States Army. And the connection...
I say, did he invent the one with the Uncle Sam pointing at everybody?
No. But where is it? So I have it. Hold on. Okay. After Preissig's tenure at Wentworth and a prolific career in America, he returned to Prague in 1931. In 1939, he joined the anti-Nazi resistance and published the illegal magazine V. Bodge, In the Fight. I guess that's what it stood for. Or, yeah, whatever. Together with one of his daughters, the journalist Inka Beneskova. They were both captured in 1940, and Preissig and Inka died at the hands of the Nazis. She in 1942, and he in 1944. So, falling a little bit down the rabbit hole when it came to art, because, I'm an artist.
You are an artist.
It's and I think, what is that, Monuments Men? Kind of, I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Monuments Men.
Yeah.
No, I know about it, though.
But I think that kind of hits upon it. Just the fact that, in the last couple of decades or so, there's always been, finding, stolen Nazi art, or, just finding art that, maybe the Nazis stole and things of that nature. But, the Nazis, basically, artists were considered, they kind of fell into, two kinds, or I guess just in general, anybody who didn't follow, who weren't of pure Aryan blood, were considered degenerates, right? When it came to art. Mm-hmm. So you have what they called Entarte Kunst, which basically translates to degenerate artists. So a degenerate artist was anyone who believed in basically modern art, or anyone who didn't follow the like I say,
the classic
classical stance,
the classic
stuff. Yeah, so basically all of every like heroic poses, realism. You couldn't be a surrealist.
If you couldn't find it in Greek and Rome, it didn't fucking count.
Right.
Yeah.
And then anybody who rejected realism was considered a degenerate. People like Otto Dix, Paul Klee, Kandinsky, Picasso. I found a table where they literally had it where it broke down everything according to. Let me get out of this. So on one side it had like Nazi approved, and then degenerate, which is basically all modern art to them. So like to them, if it was Nazi approved, it was realistic or neoclassic, clear lines, idealized human figures, especially strong, pure, and heroic. So they wanted that strong jawbone, that David. Expressionist, abstract, distorted, fragmented forms were considered degenerate art. Anything that showed suffering or classism, that didn't believe in family, was considered degenerate.
Fuck Nazis.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna agree with you.
Right.
There's a lot of people out on that limb with you, Joe.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Let's see.
Fortunately, that tree that's strong with deep roots. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
So basically, I found this one article was talking about how the Nazis banned modern art because they saw it as a threat to their ideology, politically, racially, and morally. So, like, if you drew anything that didn't look like, like let's say like the heads from Easter Island to them, like if you designed something like that to them, it shows in any type of expression other than the classic expression to them meant something was wrong with you, either racially or psychologically.
Something was wrong with you because of your race. That was,
Right.
that you were showing. That was how they differentiated between the white people. Was your tastes.
I put a bunch of his I don't know if I would say like English, but like he did a lot of like recruitment posters. I put them all in our group chat.
Thank you for that. That's
Joe, I don't know if you saw there's a baseball one.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually downloaded that one when you put it in there. I was like, these are kind of cool. I mean, old school posters like this are interesting to me. Especially
I like
the art that
puns.
Communicates. Yeah.
Like find the range of your patriotism, dialing in a cannon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, the puns are cool.
Is he holding a baseball? Or
I like the copper tone baby.
Yeah, that might be
in the first one.
Yeah, that's fucking creepy.
Yeah, I think it's a great.
I am all uncomfortable with the beginning of our obsession with youth. Like the Victorian obsession with youth just really fucking creeps me out, man.
Yeah, that's creepy. It's creepy.
Yeah,
well, Art, thank you for that information. We would not have known about this guy if you hadn't covered that.
Well, like I say, like a lot. So I mean, like even a lot of these other artists, like John Hartfeld, Otto Dix, they were literally fleeing the country and were like hide out in the countryside while they were producing like art because they were afraid of being thrown in the concentration camp for expressing themselves. But they didn't stop doing what they was doing. Like they knew that they could get killed just by creating. And it made me think of like how, for instance, like when I was in college, it was around the same time as 9/11, right? And then it was like, we were learning about how when war happens or something war related happens, it's it's that unspoken duty for artists to document it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like for us, even though we live in, I'm doing air quotes, the greatest country in the world,
Yeah.
it was like, it was easy for us to just sit there and create these things without fear of like repercussions, right? And you think about back then, though, especially in some of these not middle, some of these Eastern countries, Eastern European countries, like just of knowing that like you're doing something that you love, and just doing something that you love, you could die.
Yeah.
Is
That's because
hard
your
to
love is
imagine.
wrong.
Well, let's not forget the photographer on D-Day. You know, they had those pictures,
Right.
that real picture. I mean, and
Yeah.
everybody said how surreal it was to be like, I'm fucking fighting for my life here. And this guy's over here taking pictures running next to me. But it's just as
Right.
important as the battle. You know, it's like
Yep.
to this day, we have these images that we wouldn't have had otherwise. And that's art. I mean,
just this week I saw the protesters in it's Portland, right, where they're surrounding
Portland,
that ICE
dressing up like
detention
frogs and
center.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, and there was a scene where a bunch of them were getting arrested, and the police are all over them, but then like directly behind them are like probably 6 or 7 journalists with cameras. They're like we need the pictures of this. Like, this is a moment that needs to be documented.
Right.
And like regardless of what side you fall on politically, like at the end of the day, like it will need to be remembered.
Well, you see, they're arresting
and
journalists again. You saw the one in Chicago. Yeah. WGN was like, my name is. They're arresting me for nothing. Let's get the word out. And they're like, yes, yeah. I mean, it's crazy where we're at right now. They're trying to get us back.
Filming police in some areas is obstruction of justice.
Yeah,
just straight up filming them is.
Is it Florida that hasn't, or the Halo law now, where you have to give the police like a certain amount of space to do their job, and if you don't, they can arrest you as well as the person that they're arresting you.
Yeah, which like I feel like at face value has merit. Like sure, like if the police are in a dangerous situation,
you don't interfere.
Like they should have space. But the way it's being implemented is to block accountability essentially.
Yeah. My big thing is all of them that include filming. That's we increasingly live in a society that's being filmed as it is through CCTV. However, places like Ohio say you have to, if you want to access these public records, you have to pay a processing fee that can be as low as $75 a minute for footage.
Crazy.
So if you're a defense attorney and you want to access the police cams, the police force is allowed to charge you. There's nothing that says there is a charge. There's nothing that says you will be charged, but they've just said they are allowed to. So it's
Yikes.
One of the it all adds into there's a general movement that people don't like that you can get a free defense.
Yeah.
People don't like that you have a right to a lawyer.
Scary times.
Yeah.
Back to June. Let's take it over to Hunter at June 13th of 1944.
Hey. So I wanted to talk about the V1 flying bomb, aka the buzz bomb. Piqued my interest because I like aviation. I like things that fly. And
you are a pilot.
Yeah, I like techie stuff. And Joe, I think you'll remember from like some of our early World War II discussions, some of my favorite World War II things revolve around the technology that was invented. Originally for the like mass killing of thousands. But a lot of times they take these things, and what they learn, they then can extract useful civilian information out.
Like mustard bombs. Like mustard bombs were used to kill people. They figured out it killed cancer.
Yeah,
that's an
in
example.
in certain aspects. Yes,
Not
just straight up
adhesive bandages.
gas.
That's another one. Steve said,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They originally
like
decided to kill
first
someone.
aid. No, man.
Oh.
Just like a lot of first aid advances comes from BattleTech. Not the
So-
game BattleTech, but go on.
The V1 flying bomb was a unmanned pulse jet powered cruise missile. Well, it was the first cruise missile in the world. It was developed by Nazi Germany as part of the Vengeance weapons project, which involved namesakes of the V1, the V2, the V3. Essentially, it was when Germany started not doing so hot in the war. Hitler was like, hey, like, we need something to hit back. And he basically started the Vengeance Weapons Project in order to show that Germany was not out of the fight yet. And the first of these was the V1 bomb, aka the buzz bomb or doodlebug.
Okay, so doodlebug is too cute.
That
makes it
to be deadly.
Yes, it makes it seem like
like-
it's not that bad of a thing.
But it's gallows humor. It's the beauty
So-
of like
Yeah, so it's named after see doodlebug. So the reason they called it the buzz bomb or the doodlebug is because of the sound that it made as it was being propelled through the air. And I have a clip of that in a later slide.
Oh, I want to hear that.
It was a fairly simple design, basically just a long sphere or cylindrical tube, pointy on both ends with wings, and then a big jet engine on the back. I mean, the specific type of a jet engine is a pulse jet engine. They were about the entire bomb was about 8 meters long, so pretty big. Like it would fill up a room of a typical house if you were in it. And they weighed about 2,150 kilograms. The warhead inside weighing anywhere from 1,800 to 2,000 pounds.
That's heavy.
They could fly anywhere between 350 and 400 miles per hour, with altitudes ranging from 2,000 to 3,000 feet. So because of the jet propulsion engine, its altitude could go much higher, but basically because of the way that they were launched, and also the size of the wings. They had to keep them fairly low to the ground, using the higher pressure air closer to the ground to stay aloft. They were mainly made out of welded sheet steel, which made up the main body of the aircraft, and then the wings were made out of plywood and essentially like sheer coatings that covered. I don't know. Like, did you guys ever build model planes or like remote control planes?
I built
my
model
brother-in-law
planes.
did so.
So like
I know like the heavy duty like muslin, not quite, but
so like the old school like balsa wood framing,
yeah.
you think where it's basically a bunch of ribs, and then they coat it in almost a heavy duty cellophane to create that lift surface and camber. They were launched out of a catapult system, much like your modern day aircraft carriers. They use I think it's peroxide essentially to generate a large amount of steam, and then launch them through the down this rail and into the air. You can see it's not very long, and also it doesn't go very high from the time it's like getting off the ground.
I wonder what kind of torque it has now.
I would imagine like something like 2,000 pounds. Like you gotta yeet it pretty hard to get it
Yeah.
going, you know. And then once
gotta-
the
chuck that
engine
shit.
takes over, you know, then it's flying of its own. But in order to get off the ground, had to be yeeted pretty hard. On the first large scale attacks and its first launch began June 13th, 1944. Launch sites were from occupied northern France, and then it was later used against Antwerp, which was a port yard, and Brussels. Let's see. So how did it work? So like I said, it was a pulse jet engine, which I think is one of the coolest types of engines. I think in future tech, you're going to see. I feel like a lot of technology kind of comes full circle. Like we move away from something because it
And then we
gets
just
old
find
and
a better way
outdated.
to do it.
And then we find a better way to do it. So like the way a
we
pulse
move away
jet
from
engine,
water batteries, and then we find a better way to do water batteries.
exactly. So the way a pulse jet engine works, there's an open front that intakes air. Obviously, for combustion, you need three things. You need a fuel, air, and a spark, essentially. So it sucks air in the front, and then that's ignited by a spark source, and then all of that, it basically explodes inside the tube and then shoots out the back, and then the thrust shooting out the back creates a vacuum in the chamber that allows for more air to be sucked in the front when the valves open back up, and for more fuel to be atomized. So when the fuel is sprayed in, it's a liquid, but that vacuum inside essentially makes it atomize into a vapor, which makes it more combustible, and a much bigger burn, a bigger boom, if you will.
That's fucking
The
awesome.
pulse. It's a cool engine, like obviously, like they strapped it on something very bad, but it's a cool version of an engine. The reason I talked about, like this sort of technology coming back around, there's a lot of future tech that has been discussed involving nuclear explosions in space, and essentially being able to rapidly explode nukes in space to propel a rocket, or not a rocket, but a spacecraft to a high velocity.
Theoretically, we got pretty close to the speed of light, like
Yeah,
on paper.
Yeah. So this same engine produces about 50 pulses per second. They tested it on other vehicles, including cars, which is kind of like
Yeah,
wild.
dude, no.
And then the only one that they ever really tested for a practical wartime use was a boat, which was also technically a bomb, which it was essentially a small boat laden with explosives. They called it the Tornado. And it basically had one of these strapped on the back, and it had a human pilot that would drive the boat.
What?
And then at the last minute would jump out of the back and be like, yeah, and would just be like, all right, like there it goes. And then obviously like used to take down like warships and stuff. Most of your V1 bombs were launched from ramps, which are known as catapults. Or some of them were also rigged to be airdropped from another airplane, either from a top-mounted position, kind of like how they flew the space shuttle back, or from underneath the wing. They could mount two, one on each side. They had basic autopilots that were gyro-driven by two compressed air canisters. They had magnetic compasses to decide where to go. So I didn't know before I started looking into this.
See, that's the nav system is what I'm curious about.
So I thought these were pretty dumb bombs when I first started looking into them. I thought that they were just kind of like, okay, we point this catapult in a direction.
Yeah.
And we know about how far London is. So we judge the fuel by that amount. And then when it runs out of fuel, it should be about over London, and it'll fall.
We judge the arc.
No, these were actually like pretty smart, like early autopilot. So they had what's called a vane odometer on the front. So like, the odometer in your car like measures like how far you've gone.
Yeah.
And so air essentially comes in through the front, spins a propeller, and the amount of rotations of that propeller, it can judge how much air it has passed through. And then once that is kind of like, once it's hit a certain countdown, so they would like have like a small, essentially like kind of the opposite of an odometer where it counts down instead of up.
Yeah.
And once it hit 0, it had a mousetrap style arming system. So, like most modern munitions and like weapons of war we use today, they're all
mechanical. They'll have to have
they're all like electrical.
Yeah.
So it was very like, so they had essentially 2 scissors that would cut the airlines to the rudder, so the rudder would go dead. And then there was like another like it basically shot 2 bullets at the elevator to cause the elevator to stop working. And yeah, it was very like almost
like
it was very crazy.
Yeah, borderline Goldbergian.
Exactly. That's the word I was looking for.
Fucking
and so
silly bastards.
Originally, the way that these were designed was that it would go into a dive and the engine would still be firing. So it would dive hard. But in practice, the dive and essentially weightlessness would cause the fuel system to fail, and so the engine would stop working. Which is where I kind of got the idea that like, oh, they're like timing this with the fuel flow to get to its point, and it cuts the engine off. But it was actually that it forced itself into that dive, and that caused the engine to shut off. They had multiple fuses, one in the front nose for impact, one in the belly also for impact. They had a slower mechanical fuse that would allow it to detonate if it reached too far of an impact. And then there was also a delayed 2-hour fuse that was set at takeoff. That way, if neither of the impact fuses went off, later on, whenever, this thing would just, probably when there's some civilians like, oh, this one didn't go off, like, then it would finally go off later. So I'm gonna play the sound.
Okay, now it's
It sounds like a really loud subwoofer.
drop the beat.
All right. Doodlebug makes sense.
Yeah. All right. That was really
That's
loud
awesome.
in my
Yeah, on your end it was probably really loud, but ours must be just right for us to start a one of the tracks off Dr. Dre's The Chronic.
All right.
This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
So that's what it sounded like. And yeah, you can kind of like, but it's great. Like that's 50 explosions essentially per second.
Yeah.
Where
That's
it's, it's basically just like rocketing itself through the air.
I would not want to get hit in the nuts with something.
Sorry, it started going again. It's like, whoa. All right. Scale and effects. So there were over 9,000 of these launched. Several thousand of them reached the UK, and I'll kind of get to like, oh, well, they shot 9,000 of them. What happened to the other ones? They damaged over 1.12 million structures.
Yeesh.
And caused over 22.8 thousand casualties, the majority of which were civilian because they were just launching at London. Was essentially their target. 1/4 of them were effective because either they were defended against, they had mechanical or guidance errors, and 6 of them accidentally landed in Sweden. So explain that, German. Explain that, Nazis.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
We didn't mean to hit you. You hold our goal.
Oh, I was chocolate.
And that's why the Swedish chef was pissed.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
He hated Nazis.
these damn buzz bombs going off.
Bork, indeed.
And so I guess a little bit what I didn't talk about was so that talks about the psychological impact was they would hear that noise coming over.
Oh my God.
And as long as they kept hearing the noise, they knew they were okay, because that meant it was going on to another target. But if the noise suddenly stopped,
you knew you were fucked.
They knew it was coming down. Yeah. Each of the launch sites could launch about 15 of these per day, which kind of showed how ineffective they were. 15 a day, that's like one every hour due to all the fueling, the prep time, the launching itself. Like part of the preparation, they even had to, because the compass being inside of a metal body would get thrown off and wouldn't be exact for launch time. They would, right before they put it on the launch, they would put it into a magnetically attuned building to dial in the compass, and then have to take it directly from there to the launch site to make sure that it wouldn't be off. Yeah, kind of crazy.
Wow.
So they made a couple different variants. One was a piloted version intended for suicide bombing. Yeah. They were never used for bombing, but they were tested. But funny enough, the reason they canceled them was because they couldn't land the plane safely. Which I was kind of like, well, if they were going to use them for suicide bombings, does it really matter if you can land? Yeah. They tested the air launch ones that I talked about before, where it was carried on the top of the plane. They tested a F1 long range, which essentially just had a larger fuel tank. And then they also tested a turbojet version powered by a Porsche turbojet engine instead of the pulse jet engine. And none of these were ever used. They stuck with the V1, and then eventually they moved on to the V2, which we'll get to in a second. Allied countermeasures involving AA guns, barrage balloons. So the barrage balloons, you ever see those, and I know you guys can see them in this picture, but for the audience, you ever see those images of World War II cities, and they have what looks like a whole bunch of blimps flying over them?
Like the Man in the High Castle.
Yes, yeah. Yes, but they're not actually blimps. There's no like cockpit or people flying them. They're essentially giant balloons. And a lot of them were, like I said, those blimp-shaped ones, and that essentially allowed them to face into the wind to maintain the same point over an area. But their purpose was they would hoist these giant cables into the air, these giant steel cables, in hopes to snag either these V1 buzz bombs or dive bombers. If a dive bomber comes in to bomb an area, their hope is to have to leave, right? So they drop their bombs and then they pull up and they start trying to fly away. Eventually, they would run into these cables that they wouldn't be able to see very well, especially because they were doing a lot of night flying, because that was safer for dodging anti-aircraft gunfire. And then I think the most exciting kind of cool countermeasure was what they called wingtip tipping. And so essentially what it was, as airplanes got faster, they started essentially being able to catch these bombs. And at first they would try and shoot them down with their machine guns. But they, not only at that speed was it hard to shoot them down, but it was also, basically once they figured out this way, they were like, oh, why waste our bullets on it when we can just do this? They would fly alongside the bomb and put their wing underneath of its wing and lift up. so that it would essentially throw it off course
Uh-huh.
and cause it to dive early.
Okay.
I could only imagine a pilot like flying up to what's essentially a bomb,
a flying bomb,
and being like, "Oh, I'm just gonna tip this a little bit." Like whoever the first one to figure that out must have just been like had a death wish.
death
Just like,
wish.
Yeah, I got this. Don't
Maverick
worry.
would do it.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say maybe they figured out a way to like turn them back towards where they came from. Like
No,
that'd been awesome.
that would have been cool.
Turn it
That would've
around,
been
like
cool.
just guide it all the way around, go straight back.
Yeah, no, because they did have, like I said, they had that autopilot that would direct them in the right direction.
Oh,
but
right.
essentially,
That's
if
right.
they could flip it hard enough, they could kind of just get it to lose control and cause it to dive. Especially with how, like I said, how low to the ground they had.
Yeah,
to
they were
fly, just
low
around 2,000 feet.
Yeah,
If you can get it to
slower.
dive just a little bit, that would be enough to mess it up.
God, can you imagine your job to go fuck with one of these? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no thanks. No thanks.
So, and then my last slide, the legacy of the V1 bomb was obviously followed by the V2 rocket, which was the first long-range guided missile. Guided meaning that it was directed by essentially a radio system that would tell it where to go and kind of keep track of its trajectory. It was the first ever mass used cruise missile in war. And it also influenced post-war missile programs, including an American copy called the JB-2, which was much friendlier looking. The German one was very like dark green, I'm definitely a bomb. The American one was a nice bright blue and yellow and had some cool symbols on it.
I'm a friendly bomb.
Yeah, I'm a friendly bomb.
Colorful.
Don't worry about me. I kill Nazis. Don't worry about me.
I'm a good bomb.
And then obviously, there's a lot of them now stored in museums, studied as an early unmanned weapon system. Yeah, pretty cool.
That's a lot. Good. That's crazy. I don't know. I'm definitely not any less afraid of water. I always took some comfort in most of
we've only gotten better at it, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But most wars weren't on our shores. Like we've been lucky to be away from all this. But now with all the technology,
yeah,
they can go anywhere. They can go anywhere. I'm
reach
scared.
out and touch.
Yeah.
They can reach out and touch you.
Not even. Did you hear what the dude in China said about how many nuclear weapons they have, and basically sitting there daring Trump to fire a nuke at China.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean that's the thing.
Daring him, saying how we have what do they call it? 61. He calls it.
Yeah, no. It's basically China going, "Hey, we got the same shit you do, so."
Yeah,
we got more. No, he basically saying we have more. We had a program called 61. Ask us why it's called 61.
No, I saw the clip.
Fuck around and find out, basically.
Yeah, no, I know.
FAFO, bro.
I mean, it's all just a giant dick measuring contest.
Yeah,
it really is.
There's no reason for us to bomb somewhere where we have interests.
Right.
Yeah.
So
even like I was talking about the Vengeance Weapons Project, like the V3 was actually just a giant cannon, a massive underground cannon. I think it was like the barrel was like close to a mile long.
Yes, the space gun.
Yeah, it was essentially it would launch a projectile into space essentially, and then it would come back down in London somewhere.
Yeah. Sheesh.
And like it being built,
the Russians were like, "Oh yeah, we like that."
It was purpose built. It was purpose built to bomb London, because you build something underground like that, it can only go. You can't change where it's pointed. It was just like, no, we're gonna build this just to fuck with London. Like that's it. Like
we can shoot things this high, and this high will get it to drop there every time.
Well, luckily, we're just living in a simulation, and none of this is real.
Well, I mean, that's the joy of being a battery.
Yeah.
All right.
I watched The Matrix the other night. It was great. It was a great rewatch.
I need to rewatch that, but I need to rewatch it sober.
Nah.
Maybe not.
Sure.
All right. Now
Yeah.
let's wrap this all up in a pretty little bow and go to June 24th, where Gruff will take us home.
Well, on June 24th, a magazine, a literary
1944.
magazine, and based on what?
Sorry. I didn't clarify. June 24th, 1944.
Oh,
and
sorry.
Then we'll move on.
As opposed to the other year that we've been in.
Yeah. Yes.
No, I'm just with you, dude. It's cool. No, dude. June 24th, 1944. Meanwhile, in Australia, Adelaide, a literary magazine posts the works of a heretofore unknown poet by the name of Malley. Now, this magazine was one of those magazines that was very about the modernist movement, you know, fresh poetry, new poetry, pushing the boundaries of what's known as poetry and accepted as poetry. So Max Harris, John Reed, they were the heads of that magazine. Oh, bollocks. Anywho, the point of it being this poet, Malley, was not real. And at a point, the newspaper started saying, wait a second, we can't find anything about this poet besides what they published in this machine. I think this hoax may be perpetrated by the editor of this magazine. And the editor was like, whoa, no. I believed in it. I believed in it. My friends believed in this guy. So he hires a private investigator. That private investigator goes back and doesn't really have to work very hard because he finds that James McAuley and Harold Stewart, two classical poets, had concocted this story whole cloth to shine a light on the absurdity of modern poetry. In creating the hoax, these two dudes, they picked the name Ernest Lalor Malley because it was a highly Australian sounding handle. Malley is a pun on the word Malley, denoting a class of Australian vegetation and a bird. The name Malley was a pun on the word spelled Mallee. A native bird, the Mallee fowler.
Oh.
Lalor recalls Peter Lalor, leader of the 1854 Eureka Rebellion. Another Australian notable. Anywho, their writing process, as they described it, was to write down the first thing that came into their heads, lifting words and phrases from the concise Oxford Dictionary, a collected Shakespeare, and a dictionary of quotations. Quote, we opened books at random, choosing a word or phrase haphazardly. We made lists of these and wove them in nonsensical sentences. We misquoted and made false allusions. We deliberately perpetrated bad verse and selected awkward rhymes from a Rittman's rhyming dictionary. End quote. They also included many bits of their own poetry, though in a deliberately disjointed manner.
And so people love this.
Well, the guys that they wanted to make fun of loved it. They thought it was great. They thought it was pushing the boundaries. They picked up the references. They thought the reference was part of it. Yeah. They completely fell face first. These two guys said, hey, man, if you would have recognized this as bullshit, it would have been on us.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Dadaist poetry.
Well, it's like Dadaism came from the study of this. Not came from, but it was pre-Dadaist. The fun thing is that over time, people have embraced the poetry. There's professors that use examples of Ernst Malley poetry compared to modern poetry and said, if you pick the fake and defend it. And the professor was quoted as like 50% of the time they're right. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. The whole thing was the Darkening Ecliptic. It was a collection of 14 poems posited shipped in under the false thing that was like after this guy's death, his sister found these poems and sent it to this magazine. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Ern
But one of the
Malley.
poems, yeah. I had often cowled in the slumberous heavy air, closed my inanimate lids to find it real, as I knew it would be. The colorful spires and painted roofs, the high snows glimpsed at the back, all reversed in the quiet reflecting waters, not knowing then that Durer perceived it too. Now I find that once more I have shrunk to an interloper, robber of dead men's dream. I had read in books that art is not easy, but no one warned that the mind repeats in its ignorance the vision of others. I am still the black swan of trespass on alien waters.
That sounds good to me. I mean,
That
so
like
yeah,
what we know of as modern poetry.
right, right.
And
I
the
think
fact
that's
that
yeah.
leading experts on modern poetry in the 40s were like, yeah, dude, I'm down.
That's how I feel anytime I've read any poetry. Like we have our friend that was on Friend Check that told us from college. We, read Touch with him. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I've published several books of poetry, and
Yeah.
I bought a couple of them and looked through them, and I don't. It seems good. I don't know, but I don't. I know nothing. I know no way of. But I guess it's like art. It's like anything. It's subjective.
Well,
Like you can't. I can't look at this and this is terrible. It's like looking at a piece of art and be like, that's terrible. Other people may love it because it's art.
yeah.
It's not right or wrong. So it's just like, does it make you think? Does it speak to you? That's all
Does it
that really
elicit
matters, right?
emotion?
I mean, that
Yeah.
sounded I was reading along because I was Googling and I happened to come into that same poem and you were reading it.
Oh, no, it's the first one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And but it seems good. Like it feels deep.
Another
But
one,
they
sweet.
intentionally made
Yeah.
it bad. That's crazy.
Well, that was like that. That was their attempt at making bad poetry, the loaves and fishes, or no less miracle. For in this deft pentacle we imprison our wishes, though stilled to alabaster. This thickest shall swim from the mind's disaster on the volatile hymn. If this be the norm of our serious frolic, there's no remorse. Our magical force cleaves the ignorant storm on the hyperbolic. I mean, I could see that in magnets on a fridge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. That fridge poetry thing where you can it's just a bunch of words, and no matter what you
Yeah.
do, it's great. Like you try to intentionally be terrible, and it's oh shit, it's good. It kind of
Yeah,
reminds me of
yeah.
the poem I wrote in. I tried to in English class senior year, like just fuck around. Like I'm not taking any single assignment seriously. It was like I wrote a peanut butter one everything my peanut butter this, my peanut butter that. I was just fucking around and I was like
Yeah.
they were like, "Hey, you got an A, Joe. That's a style. That's an
Yeah, no,
actual
it's
style that you've just emulated." And I didn't do it on purpose. I was trying to fuck around to get laughs. And then it was like
dude,
I
but
picked an
that
LL
that
Cool J song, Milky Cereal, and I was like, I'm gonna
yeah.
dissect this song. And Mr. Laird was like, "Hey, plus, that's great. You aptly explained what L. Cool J was doing in that song and how he was using metaphors." I was like, I was
Dude,
just fucking around. So
like as an
yeah,
English teacher, if you could actually sit down and listen to rap, that had to be like a revelation. It's like, oh fuck, I can teach kids about poetry now.
yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah. And he was like, and it made me like it more, like being more into English and be like, okay, he's gonna
Yeah.
accept L. Cool J, then
Well,
okay, maybe I like school.
he
They
demystified it.
changed my trajectory, and now I'm a huge successful
You
scholar.
are, dude. You've
History
turned
for
into a
church.
master of spreadsheets.
I do like spreadsheets.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll
So,
put
all
you-
right, just for, oh shit, where is it? I was gonna say, just for sake of even I also got poems from the two guys that decided this was shit.
right.
Both of them
Yes.
did fine. Both of them, like, James McCauley, he did okay. He went on to be a professor and fucking push forth conservative neoclassicism, neoclassical bullshit. You know, the same dead white guy shit we were talking about earlier with the Nazis, but Australian.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 poems. Someone give me a number between 1 and 8.
6.
6.
I was gonna
right,
say
I've
6 also.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Oh, we are the mark of the beast.
That is weird. 666, son.
The
That's the name
poem,
of our band. We are the mark of the beast. Go for it, Steve.
the poem, Spring by James McCauley. Awake and sing, for early spring comes forth with beauty gay. With joy elate, both small and great, now bless the happy day. Through all the earth comes beauty forth, so sweet, so fresh and fair. With every sound that echoes round comes the gladsome air. While from the hill the little rill comes trickling down so clear, his bubbling voice made me rejoice in many an early year. Along the mead where'er we tread will little floweret spring, and through the air in colors rare waves many a tiny wing. Back to their home the songsters come and gaily, blithely sing. The sun looks gay, I love the day, the sweet and early spring. So that was him. That was Spring by James McCauley.
That's good.
Now, the other dude, Harold Stewart, ended up moving to Japan and teaching and focusing on haiku. And I will pick, and these aren't all haiku, but actually, none of these are fucking haikus. Ah, well. The Old Fisherman. I came here 20 years ago or more, and yet these hands have never once before shaken themselves in salutations hold. Then I was Chang Chi Ho, but now the old fisherman friend of lonely mares and mists tells you of what my life consists, tells you of what my way of life consists. Or Wu Tao Zu. Why did you quit humanity and home and choose this wilderness in which to roam? Why in a humble sampans hold aloof its wicker cradle for your only roof? So those two motherfuckers were pissed about modern poetry. And they created a dude to mock it, but in
Ended
doing
up
so,
slaying.
yeah. However, all said and done, when it hit that it was made up, the editor of the magazine who published it, the Angry Penguins, he was tried for obscenity and fined £5, and the whole magazine was dissolved. One of the witnesses said, "I don't know what incestuous means, but it doesn't sound good," essentially. So I think one of the poems had the word incestuous in it. I don't know. I didn't read all the poems. Matter of
Well,
fact,
that's good.
I only read the poems that I read to you.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
We got some art, we got some science, some technology, some sports, all in June of 1944. I think I feel like this was good. You guys feel
I
good about what we
no,
discussed?
I enjoyed it. I appreciate your patience.
Did you guys learn something?
I love, and again, so I want to say this was quite organic. Think about it. Think about it.
Did you see organic?
Yes, yeah. We all was given assignments.
Yeah.
And we all kind of veered
Went different ways.
Well, we
all
didn't go
came at
different
it from
ways.
different-
We went different ways, but we all leaned into what we're mostly passionate about, right?
Yeah.
So it's like Gruff is a thespian,
Yes.
right?
Well,
So he lives.
I'm
He
a
lives.
fan. I'm a
he
fan
lives
of
for
fucking
that.
poetry, dude.
He's an
I mean,
artistic man.
we all like sports, but Joe's a sports knucklehead, right?
Well, I mean,
I'm a
I think
Nuxie.
And Hunter, you're like the. You ever seen that Foghorn Leghorn commercial?
Whoa,
I'm not commercial, cartoon.
Are you calling him
With the-
Egghead?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like that. But
Motherfucker.
but it's like one of those things where it's like
I had to.
well, see,
Foghorn Leghorn was in the not the. Do you guys play the New York Times games like the Wordle?
Wordle.
No.
Yeah, I got to finish my
Right.
Wordle.
The Connections. Foghorn Leghorn was in the Connections the other day,
nice.
and I had to explain to all my friends what Foghorn Leghorn
yeah,
was.
but see,
Oh
you're
my
you're
God,
like
that's
They were
you're
like,
like
"What is
Fuck.
Foghorn Leghorn?" And I was like, "Oh, it's
Oh,
Foghorn
shit.
Leghorn."
you're like the little kid.
I'll show you.
You
I say
do
that, son.
you come up with this idea and you do it. I don't want to say perfect, but you do it. You Hunter brains it, right? You Hunter brains it.
Hunter brains that
Hunter
shit.
brains
I
it.
do. I
like
will
that
say,
shit.
I think the PowerPoint helped you trim it down from what you've done in the past with American Timelines. Like
Mhm.
it helped you
Mhm.
focus and really just talk about the points, the bullet points. So I would say
Yep.
go ahead and
Dude,
do
if
that
you
if
can-
that helps you like
Yeah.
make it concise. I almost think that would help me too in a certain way. But
I think everyone
just don't
with me
say
should do
as you
bullet
can
points.
see.
Or I think
Yeah.
Art should do what he wants, and you guys should do bullet points
Yeah, it'll help.
or PowerPoints.
Yeah, maybe a PowerPoint or like I was trying to do the style that
I
we
mean,
learned.
my camera makes me look like I'm on VHS.
I think,
Which
but
I
Joe,
really don't wanna
I do
upgrade it.
think I would like to see you do your bar PowerPoint night.
Oh.
I would make a PowerPoint
no,
for your bar
seriously,
night.
no. It's a good idea, dude.
Well,
It's a
so
solid idea.
yeah, so at Middle James, where I do this, the local comedy show that I host once a month, they're open. They have this cool little room. It's like set up for presentations. They have a big screen, 2 big screens next to the stage that I can plug into. And I told her, I was like, I really want to do a nerd night where we do PowerPoints. And
Yeah.
almost every stand-up comedian
TED
wants to
Talks.
do that. A lot of them, yeah. TED talks about anything, like anything. Doesn't necessarily have to be funny, but the more off the wall, the better.
Thank you for coming to my brew talk.
Just a nerdy night, yeah, about anything.
Oh, brew talk.
As long as it's something you're interested in and you can,
Joe talks.
yeah, you get 10 minutes and whatever. So I'm see when we can do that, but maybe next summer we'll unleash that. But anyway, thanks for doing this, guys. We will be back. We'll give us another month or so, and we'll be back in July of 1944.
July.
Yep, July 1944, and I don't know how we're going to divvy up what we're going to do, but we'll figure that out. Thank you for being here, Gruff, Hunter,
thanks for
and
having me.
Artstar. Anybody want to say get out of here, Chuck Berry?
Get out of here, Chuck Berry.
We'll see you next time.
What are you doing in here, Chuck Berry?
Hey, Chuck. Why are you gonna be like that?
Now I'm obsessed with time. That's Hunter's favorite.
Oh, my child, it's about to get wild. Have you been down on the streets today? Say, yeah, now, baby, it's about to get crazy. Everybody's got something to say. We got 10,000 people screaming, oh my God, it's over, but they're never gonna take us away. So you better get believing there's a brand new feeling. If you're asking, I say stay awake, stay awake. I know you feel it on the inside.
Matt Truman Ego Trip is the greatest band of all time. Buy their music. American Timelines is a product of History for Jerks. Check out historyforjerks.com for all the other weird and cool shiznit. There's the Gruff and Loud Show, a YouTube show for Gen X weirdos who like pop culture and weird shit. There's also the Deborah Jo Ruppyverse show featuring the mighty Artstar and Steve Bishop exploring the theory that the actress Deborah Jo Rupp is a nexus being, and every part she has played is one immortal being. Don't forget about the Nerd School podcast and the Threadless shop where you can buy a Tito Jackson shirt and a Dabney Coleman hat. Only a stupid dumbass wouldn't want a Dabney Coleman hat, and only a wiener bitch wouldn't want a Tito Jackson shirt.